Yo, what's up guys, it is Saintsfan, and welcome back to another Grand Theft Auto 5 video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some leaked content, and I know I normally don't do that too often on my channel, but I figured we would have a little discussion about this because this is, pretty interesting. I mean, it's talking about two potentially upcoming heists. Now, these could also be just heists that Rockstar were working on, and maybe they figured that, it wasn't going to work, and they just left it there, but if this is two potentially new heists, that's pretty cool, because a lot of I guess the downside to heists right now is that it was kind of repetitive if you did it over and over again. So two new ones, that would be pretty awesome. But I'll go ahead and leave all the links in the description if you want to listen to the audio that the guy found. The guy even linked where he found it in the game code, like in the game files. So if you want to go check it out for yourself, you can do that. And I'll go ahead and read his analysis of both of these heists. So the first heist is called Drug Flip, and he says, this heist is given to you by a new character. I can't place his voice, he sounds like a mix between Ron and Lester, but he's definitely not either. He seems to be blackmailing the players to allow them to continue their business by helping him steal a drug shipment from LS cartels in order to flip them for weapons to sell the weapons to a foreign dictator to get a big payday. This sounds exactly like Jeff's speculation on what happens to the Hydra from the Humane Labs. It is very possible that the gameplay and writing aren't finished and are borrowed from other heists as placeholders. More on that at the end. There's 3 prep missions for this heist. Prep mission number 1 would involve you stealing drug shipment trucks from the South LS and carrying them to El Gordo. Prep mission number 2 involves stealing 1 of 3 riot vans and using it for something later. And he says probably that's something that's unfinished. And prep mission number 3 would involve you ambushing a Merryweather convoy to steal a truck. And it says seems to be a prep mission from the original heist, again, maybe a placeholder. Now the heist finale for this one involves raiding a processing plant, secretly a narcotics distribution center, stealing their shipment, loading it into your truck, and flipping the drugs on the global market. However, the heist is sabotaged and the truck's location is exposed. You must quickly take the shipment out of South LS and carry it out of the city via cargo bob. It is implied you have a silent or obvious option for this, like in single player heists. So that sounds pretty interesting. Now there are some elements from some other heists, obviously the cargo bob picking up the drugs, whatever. That's kind of like whatever heist it was that you picked up the car. And he said, the prep mission number 3, ambushing a Merryweather convoy truck, maybe that's just a placeholder, maybe they're still working on this heist, who knows. But it definitely sounds pretty interesting. And then heist number 2 is called the Money Back Guarantee. And he says, so we're back with Lester. Again, this heist unlocks all of the random Fleeca banks around the map for a fast-paced race against time, where you create a city-wide blackout and loot as many banks as possible before the 10-minute timer runs out and the power is rerouted. This seems to be way more finished. Lester has unique dialogue options for when you fail, and it's more creative and funny than the first one. Joseph White lines are also fully recorded, and though I didn't put it in the video, there's clips of him reacting to all of the player taunts, around a dozen commentaries on your fashion choice, what he thinks of your car, etc. This heist also mentions finding him at a nightclub, which potentially could unlock the Bahama Mamas, which a lot of people kind of want open after there was that glitch to get inside of it. Now the prep missions for this heist, prep mission number 1 involves stealing sea sharks from the pier and stashing them in the LS River storm drains. Prep mission number 2 involves planting explosives on power substations to blow later. Security guards show up and must be stealthily taken out. The explosives are fragile and damaging, or detonating them or getting caught by security will fail the mission. Prep mission number 3 involves tracking down a scientist, Melvin Andrews, who's hidden location with radar decoys. You must find his real location, kill him, take his passcode, presumably before the time runs out. And prep mission number 4 involves one unlucky player seducing a bank manager, Joseph White, at a nightclub. This player must flirt with him, go back to his place, and distract him, possibly in a hot coffee minigame, long enough for your teammate to make a copy of his bank vault pass and sneak back out. The finale for this one involves blowing the substations to create a citywide blackout in order to dash between the 4 to 5 Fleeca banks, robbing them all before the 10-minute timer runs out and the power comes back on. The players must use motorbikes to escape the final bank, lure the cops into the LS River, then use the sea sharks to escape. For each bank, 2 players handle hostages and 2 players handle the vault. After a few minutes, the cops catch on and wait for you at the next bank. On the final bank, all 4 players must go inside the vault to steal the cash motherlode, but something goes wrong. You're locked out of the vault and may have to forfeit the final pay. Then it gets even worse, and you're surrounded by cops outside and your escape bikes are confiscated. All players must fight their way through the cops to a parking garage in Legion Square, where they find another car and continue to the Sea Sharks. With very little time left on the 10-minute clock, once on the Sea Sharks, the players must split up to lose the heat. They escape just in time. Now he says there are some strange dialogue from a cutscene with a drunk woman ranting about her failed career as a TV writer in Vinewood. And again, there's some other stuff that the guy has found. But my question to you guys, do you think that these 2 heists are 2 new heists that we're going to be seeing in the future? You know, there's probably no frame time. They said in that Q&A there wasn't going to be any for a while. Or do you think these are just sort of leftover heists that they were starting to work on and then they just decided to quit? Either way, they sound pretty interesting. I definitely like the second heist where there's like that time limit. That's definitely, it's an interesting heist. Like all the other heists, there was no time limit for the most part. And that's definitely, that sounds really cool, especially with the citywide blackout. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. That has been it though. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry for no Squadcast. We might do it tomorrow on Monday. It's just been a crazy weekend for me and Garrett and everybody else and Ross and everything. So yeah, little update on that. But yeah, see you guys in the next one. As always though, it's your boy Saintsfan. I'm out. Peace.